Hello everybody, it's Brian for GadgetUnit.com, and in this video I'll be bringing you my brief review of the HTC Desire 610 for AT&T. It's a mid-range phone with the price to match. You can pick this up from AT&T without a contract for $199.99, but with a 2-year agreement you can usually find this for 99 cents, but at the time of doing this video it's available for free with a 2-year contract. You can find all the specs within the written review that's linked down below in the video description, but some of the main components here include the 4.7-inch 480 by 854 display and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 quad-core processor that's clocked at 1.2 GHz. In terms of design and hardware, the smartphone is made of plastic, but it feels pretty solid, but I would still put a case on it for safe measures. The side of the phone has a soft touch matte texture, while the back is glossy plastic, and I prefer things to be the other way around because a glossy side would give you more grip, while the soft touch matte back would give you fewer fingerprints and scratches. On the left side you'll find a covered flap for the micro SD and nano SIM card slots, while the opposite side has your volume rocker. The power button can be found at the top as well as the 3.5mm headset jack, while at the bottom is a micro USB port. The front of course has our display, our 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, as well as dual front-facing speakers. Lastly, on the back we have our 8 megapixel rear-facing camera with an LED flash, as well as some branding. Like the much more expensive HTC One M8, the front-facing speakers really do help when it comes to listening to audio without the use of external speakers or headphones. While the speakers on the Desire 610 get very loud, they're not quite as clear as the ones found on the One M8. Still, this is much better than what you would expect from a smartphone with a small, single speaker. The display on the Desire 610 is probably the weakest component because it's low resolution, again 480 by 854, so it pretty much lacks the clarity of other priced smartphones. Even the Moto G at $20 less has a much higher resolution. Fortunately, I got used to it very quickly to where it didn't bother me much, though what did bother me was the screen's poor viewing angles, where colors shift a lot even at minor viewing angles. Of the many smartphones I've used over the years, this one leaves the most to be desired in terms of viewing angles. Colors look fine though, and things aren't too oversaturated when you're looking at it from straight on, of course. The device runs Android 4.4.2, also known as KitKat, with HTC's Sense 6 UI on top of that, and as I mentioned in my HTC One M8 review, HTC Sense 6 is the best Android experience I've ever used on any kind of Android device, even compared to stock Android. The apps are clean, the color palette is nice, and everything just works very well in a simplistic manner. You aren't bombarded with features that you're not going to use. If there's something you don't like, you can go ahead and disable it or hide it at least. Performance was pretty good. Apps loaded very quickly, as did websites. Games loaded quickly as well, although the smoothness of the games isn't too consistent compared to more higher end device, but this was to be expected, but overall games performed just fine. My review unit actually did not come with an AT&T nano SIM, even after I requested one for some reason, so I wasn't able to properly test how long the battery lasts, because having a cellular connection will impact battery performance. But without a SIM card, I have been able to easily get throughout the entire day. Standby performance is great as well. This phone does not have 5 GHz Wi-Fi, so I was only able to connect to my 2.4 GHz network, and Wi-Fi worked just fine. The camera isn't the best, but you shouldn't expect a device with this price to compete with much more expensive devices. Still, in the few photos that I've taken, I was pretty impressed by things. They were good enough, and I didn't really have too many complaints about them, although low light performance definitely left a lot to be desired. 720p at 60 frames per second video recording looked just fine, and in conclusion, I would say that you shouldn't let the price of the phone fool you, nor should the you get what you pay for mentality get to you, because the HTC Desire 610 is a very solid phone throughout, just as long as you look past the display's poor viewing angles and low clarity. Still, I did enjoy the HTC Desire 610, and at $199 without a contract, it's definitely not a bad phone. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback about this or anything else, feel free to leave those down below in the comments area. But that's it with the video, so thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you all very soon.